Now, Cici will be released under your own independent record, Beauty Marks Entertainment, which is incredibly badass. But
thank you.
What's the best part of being your own boss?
Man, the best part, I think, is being able to activate when I want to, you know, and not have to answer to someone or wait for someone to tell me that the time is okay to do something when they think it is. You know, I can really move freely in my thoughts, and it's very liberating, you know, because it's really a process when you have to go through the chain of commands to even get an okay or maybe. Like, that is very draining and stifling for artists, I would say, at least from my experience. So I love being able to just move how I want to move, and I can try things, and I may not always get it right, but it's the best feeling being able to just move when I say I want to and how I want to. That is probably the best feeling in the world. And I'll be honest with you, because I'm really on this whole, you know, train of like, you really want to reap the benefits of your labor, right? And sometimes when you're in the traditional scenarios, traditional deals, recording contracts, it's very hard for you to really thrive and survive economically. And that part is important too. So I kind of do my life in chapters. And, you know, I kind of started the true chapter of ownership when I started Beauty Marks Entertainment. And that was about almost 6 years ago. When I launched Level Up, that was the beginning of it for me. And that's a very important place to be in, I feel, when you've been doing it for this long, because that's where your opportunity to really live. Like, you can't sustain a certain structure forever. Like, no matter how passionate you are about what you do, you know, it's just like why we talk about women in sports and equity, like all these things, like those things matter. Like, people cannot thrive and survive in certain scenarios, you know, forever, and like not have to go backwards in their job choice.
Right.
You know, if they don't have, you know, a certain kind of structure and support system. So that's also really important for me too. You know, I want to collect my bags.
Right. So now, like you were saying, this Cici will be your second album that you've released under Beauty Marks Entertainment, but you also own all of your masters. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I own my masters starting from Level Up on, or from Beauty Marks album. Mm-hmm. I own all my masters from that project on. And the best thing was when I was in the transition of being signed to a major recording label before I kicked into independence. And I remember I had Level Up, had all these songs, and I asked the person that did not see the vision of Level Up and what I wanted to do to not get it at that time, but it was actually a good thing. Sometimes you don't realize your blessings are when someone says no. And that was one of those moments. And so I asked for my master's back, and luckily he gave them to me for free. Didn't even ask me to pay back anything. And that's kind of like, when you think about it, it's like rude. Like, oh, okay, like you really think it's not going to be anything.
Right.
Right. But it's so motivating. And
I was just going to say, does that not fuel your fire of like,
oh my gosh,
I am about to stick it to you so hard.
Let me tell you something. I've heard a lot of no's in my journey. And sometimes you got to love the no's, because there's something about those moments that really propel you into the space that you already wanted to get to, but it just makes you get there faster. Because it's really, you have to survive in this world. So I go into survival mode. As a mom, you go into like survival, protect all these different things. And then the beast just comes out. It's like, okay, like, thank you so much, because now you've given me what I needed to go and like really make sure I get things where I believe they can go, and like, you know, put plan to motion. So
that's such a beautiful example of like you, especially talking about sort of like not letting a stagnant situation happen, and you making sure that like there's always that room for growth, and then to take that no and turn it exactly into that, right? Like just have it fuel your fire, have it help you step into that next opportunity where like they always say, when one door closes, another door opens, and you are just, you said, fuck that door. I didn't even like that door. Let me go to the next one.
I'm going to bust through this next door real quick, and I'm going to shut that last door so quick.
Yes.
You know, that's exactly
incredible.
it. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Now I'd love to throw this conversation back to 2004, which was when your first album came out, as well as the beginning of my personal love for hip hop and R&B. I was raised on like good sort of that like soulful music. My dad loved to listen to it. So that's like what we listened to in the car. And then it just led me right into that early 2000s, like the late 90s, early 2000s hip hop and R&B is still to this day my go-to in the car. Like when it's just me, I'm like, that's it. I remember hearing 1-2-Step and Goodies literally everywhere. Do you have any favorite artists, any moments from that time that sort of have been something that stuck with you through your very impressive career?
Yeah. Firstly, thank you for that. You know, I don't know. I would just say like, just a reminder of like living out your dream and how you have to still go back to that place of like the why not you mentality. Like, you know, like that's a real thing that's constant throughout my life and career. I'm having to always tap into that. And I just remember my song being played on the radio for the first time. I remember my confidence in believing in the record Goodies and knowing I got something special in my hands. And I think that, listen, like I said, you're not gonna always get it right when you swing, but I like my batting average. I think I do all right, you know, in reference to selecting records and knowing like what's best for me. And I think that's a place I always have to go back to is, you know, when you know something and you believe in it and you're really confident, like we say from the rooted to the rooted to the tutor, you know, where I'm from, like when you feel it from your head to your toes, you know, all the way through, it's like, man, like never deny that. You know, always trust your gut on things. And I think that mentality still applies to what I do, like still to this day, throughout the whole journey, not even just in my independent chapter, but in general. Most of my successful moments, or pretty much all of my records that have worked, I've always been confident in them. And listen, there's a few I was confident in that didn't work, but that's okay. Right. But I think there's something about that I have to go back to. And then I think the joyfulness, like when you're just kicking off living your dream, like you don't know nothing, like you really don't have any like scars. You're like, everything is like, so like, you're a little naive, like, you know, you're just like, I'm just living my dream. Like I'm flying. Like there's something about that energy, like that, like, the innocence, that purity of that beginning phase that you still want to have. Like that's that love and that passion, like that drives you. And I think that's just something I always tap into, right? Is now I know more, so I can be a little smarter with my decisions, but I don't ever want to lose that goosebump sensation, that excitement and joy in my eyes and in my heart, and like that I feel when I hear music and when I make it. Like if I lose that, then to me, that's when I stop. So I'm always like, you know, making sure I'm tapping into that.
That's such an incredible like sentiment that you like, just as a fan of yours for a very long time now, I would think that you like the idea of you getting goosebumps about making music, obviously, like the idea of you getting goosebumps making your music and us getting goosebumps when we listen to it is like the most lovely, like parallel situation of like what you're doing and the music you're making. Like it's such a joy to listen to. That it's exciting to hear that you still have that excitement. I do think unknowingly that it has translated into your music in a way that like we get to feel that same excitement.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's awesome to hear. You know, we would say that's when, you know, you got to smash, right? When you have that goosebump feeling from artist to fan or to anyone listening, and then they feel that feeling. It's like, okay, we got something here.
There it is.